Hello, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Kersten, and I'm with Capavario. And today we're going to have some fun, and we're going to talk about, workflow from frustration to function. Hello, Kelly. How are you? It has been a minute or two since we all met. So very excited again to be here. I'm going to start the slideshow here in a minute, and hopefully everybody will enjoy. Please remember to put any of your questions in the questions and answer section. I will save some time near the end to do some questions, and I will do my very best to pay attention to the chat as well. I do have Davida in somewhere, and she'll try to help as well as we're going through some of this. Okay, so I didn't do a lot of practice on sharing my screen, so hopefully I get this right. Okay, does that look okay for everybody to see? Perfect. Okay, so from frustration to function, solving real world challenges in the proposals, billing, and workflow. This is all powered by Financial Sense, as you can imagine. My name is Dave Kersten. I'm with Capavario here based out of Denver, Colorado. I put my little LinkedIn here just in case you want to connect with me afterwards. Feel free uh, to scan the QR code for that. I like to say that I'm somebody that transforms bookkeeping to seamless experiences, empowering businesses to thrive. I get excited about making processes easier. So, what are we going to cover today? We're going to cover common firm frustrations, and this is specific to our clients, but also to our use of Financial Sense. We're going to talk about what are the fixes to these common firm frustrations and go through some practical steps to scale what works for you. So, we put together, and I worked with Financial Sense to put some of this together, on what are the common firm frustrations. So we kind of pulled out three of the biggest time drains that we see in firms. One, proposals getting stuck in limbo. They go out late to clients. We forget clients forget to sign. The back and forth, the waiting, who's doing what. I know that to me that is just something that bugs me, but it's just something that we got used to over the years. We got used to just we'll get it when we get it, and our engagement now starts a week later because we didn't have that signature. Another problem is our recurring invoices never seem to match the right month. So we might be sending it out, but it's a month late, or it's for the prior month, or the client was like, is this for next month? Are we billing ahead or in arrears? And when we talk about workflow, I don't know who's doing what's overdue, what needs to be done, what are we waiting for on a client. Everything just kind of feels scattered, lost, disorganized. And I can say in the beginning, this was one for me and my firm. We were using a different software, and my team came to me and said, we need to go to Financial Sense. We need to have it. We need to be more organized. We have too many clients that we're juggling in the old system. And when I told my team that yes, let's do it, we kind of almost instantly felt this release in organization and our ability to do what we needed to do. So what is that? That's turning this chaos that we have really into clarity. Clarity is a very important word, and I think that if you've been attending a lot of different question or sessions today, you've heard that word clarity being constantly said over and over and over. Every frustration that you might have, the functional fix inside of Financial Sense. So let's start unpacking what that looks like now. Here's our what I'm going to call fix one, the 11 p.m. problem with proposals. How many of you, like me, stay up late and we're working on this proposal, and we send it off at midnight? Well, that's probably not the best thing. We're already training our clients that I'm working at midnight. I'm already training the client that I can be reached at midnight. So using Financial Sense and the proposal builder to create, send out polished, and even pre-approved things you've already put together, proposals directly from the platform is the first step to fix the midnight problem or the 11 p.m. problem. I should have put midnight instead of 11 p.m. Set up the automation rules using settings, proposals, automation to send them automatically. So again, not at midnight when a client, but instead when the client hits that specific workflow stage. Add custom fields for service start and end dates. That's going to help you with your recurring proposal alignment, and it's going to help with what you're really working on in your work period. Integrate payments. Now, again, I'm one of those people. I'm still working on this, and I'm going to be honest. I don't have all of my proposals to bill inside of Financial Sense, but it is something I'm working on. It's something we need to do because I'm chasing clients sometimes for money, and why am I wasting that time when it can all be done in this solution, and it can be done in a proper fashion, and it can fix a problem on me as the owner that's doing the books for my firm versus you know scrambling to say, hey team, stop working because we didn't get paid yet. So again, seamless integration with the payments, I think that makes it really help. uh, so Alicia, you put in there, so true, can't spoil clients thinking that you reached to them at midnight. These are some things that I wanted to talk about again in workflow, and you'll see some of this in a little bit too. Is setting expectations. What is the expectation you're trying to set with your client? If you are like me in the beginning of opening my firm, I was like, here's my personal cell phone number. Reach out to me whenever you want. Oops. Now I just caused a big problem because now those clients are now working with someone on my team, but yet they're still calling me. They're still texting me. This morning, very funny, at 6 a.m. my time, a client texted me and was like, hey, I have questions. Can you get on the Zoom? I wasn't up at 6 a.m. And it's not a client I work on. It's one of my team members. So I had to reset that expectation. One, by not replying to the text, instead sending them a communication through the communication software that says, "Hey, team member, can you connect with this client?" So again, setting expectations is very, very important. Fix two, billing chaos. So this one's huge because again, we're spending lots of time working on sending out bills and tracking the bills, making sure we got paid for the bills. And you might use other softwares to do that. Why? When you can sync the proposals, billing schedules with QuickBooks and align recurring invoices with billing mirrors and workflow cadence, all of those things are important. And it takes away that guesswork. It takes away what's happening next and how am I going to get there. Add a billing completed task dependency to your workflows, meaning invoices can't be forgotten because the task is literally who won't close until you finished it. Hey, did it get done? Did it get done properly? Just checking up, checking that status flow. Use the revenue tracking dashboard, which is it's not there yet, but coming soon in Financial Sense updates, or the existing productivity dashboard to ensure all completed projects are billed on time. So again, looking at some of those uh, features and in what you're doing to help solve your problem. Now, Scott, I want to answer your question. Is there a place that you're going to find this slide deck? Yes. Unfortunately, we started just a minute earlier than I was ready, so I didn't get that Slack message over to Davita, but I will get that over here shortly to her so that you can have a copy of the deck. And Katie, wow, Christmas morning. I had a client call me on Christmas morning, was super mad when I didn't answer. He's no longer a client. Great way to set that standard. Again, it's Christmas. It's not the time for accountants to be doing extra work in those areas for our clients. But what other times? Like I said, 6 a.m. in my time here in Colorado versus it was 8 a.m. in the client's time. So they thought this was normal. It's setting that expectation, setting up the boundaries, as Jason just said, and then making sure you hold yourself accountable to them. It's using your software to get where you need to be. So if you're in a email software and you're not connected or integrated with Financial Sense, it's scheduling the time out so that, hey, that email is not going to go out until X time so that it falls within that time frame. Okay, let's talk workflow again. So the workflow, what's next? Again, where are we at when we're talking about understanding what is our team doing, or what do I need to do if I'm a solopreneur, and where am I behind, or how do I schedule my work week? How do I plan out what I'm going to be doing and how I'm going to do that? I'm going to build custom views to track workflows by client, by stage, or by due date. You can also kind of do it by type of work. So if you're somebody that does tax and CAS, then maybe you have, here's the tax clients, and this is what stage they're in, what I'm waiting on, what I'm not waiting on. Help you stay organized in what you're trying to get accomplished. Use dependencies to drive sequential process. So again, finish this, and then it brings you into the next step. Again, those things are really exciting because I enjoy knowing what I need to do. I understand how to look at financial sense. It's really nice to look at and it's easy to use. And so now I just got to make it work for me. I got to make it work on the customization that I want in my firm. And that's huge when you think about all of us here today and how many of us are here and how we all probably get to the same end product. But we to get there is a whole different process. We might have more team members, less team members, more people in training, interns, and how do we accomplish making sure that each one of them are learning something and getting to where they need to be? Simplify. Another great word. Simple equals success. So if you simplify and standardize your templates with fewer templates and smarter automation, you're going to get further along. Again, now what does that mean? Simplifying and standardizing a template. It could mean that it's just super generic and then you customize it when you get to the client piece, or it's specific to a type of client. So here is my construction client that is a home builder, and this is going to be the template for that home builder or any home builder we work with. It could be this restaurant is going to be this template. Or again, you can do, like the generic version that then you customize when you bring it into a project for a customer. We kind of put everything in. And we base ours off of our statement of work that we're sending to the client. It functions, it looks like the same as the statement of work. And even if there's items that we don't do for a client, like let's say I don't do payroll for a client, there's still going to be that task that says payroll. And you might say, why? How is that simplifying my process to have stuff that we don't do in there? Well, we're going to say we don't do it, but it's also a reminder to my team that we don't do it. And so when they're getting questions about payroll for that specific client, they can say, hey, that's not within your engagement, but I can reach out to Dave and we can add that on to your engagement, or we can have that conversation and help them kind of streamline and see that they're doing what they're doing. And this is what we do for this client. This is what we don't do. And then having that information saved in the client file, I think is also very important. Using client task reminders to automatically nudge clients for missing docs or signatures. This one, I didn't think I was going to like at first because, I'm a control freak. Like I think most of us are. I like to make sure I'm communicating, make sure I'm constantly bugging the client on something I need. This saves so much time because now it just is handled. The client gets the notice, the client knows where to go to upload their documents, and it keeps reminding them of what they're supposed to be doing. Takes that pressure off of us and off of our team to have that follow up and to feel like we may be even being a little negative. Excuse me. The next thing is, creating a manager dashboard. So if you have a team, making sure that they have their own dashboard for the people that they're monitoring so that they know what the visibility is that they need to be having for each one of their clients. So I think it's really important to understand what is it that you want on that dashboard? How do you create it to customize? And how is it affecting or working through on your workflow? I'm reading in the chat too here. So I really like what you put in there, Kaylee, about we often utilize and reference parts of the engagement letter when people question why they are getting an extension or are, lo and behold, they initially are initial right next to the section that states that they were going to get an extension if you didn't have whatever you needed. I think that's also important is to understand that your engagement letter, your statement of work, those things should not be just forgotten about. They should be living documents. They should be inside a financial sense for if you have a team, for your team to see what that engagement is and what are those requirements. And I think if you're constantly having that conversation with the client of what's in their statement of work, hey, let's review your statement of work this month. When you're doing your month end close, these are the things we accomplished. Here's some things we're still working on. I think that really helps the clients understand transparency, honesty from you that sometimes you might not get to everything on the list for that month, but also building that trust and excitement between the two firms, or your client. We call it being, we want to be fully transparent. So I just did this a few days ago with the client, and we were doing like the year in a review. And while we were going through it, we identified that two things that my firm said we were going to do every single month we really didn't do every single month. And now last year, we probably did it two, maybe three times. And so now it was about how do we explain why we didn't do it? Was there a roadblock? Was there some confusion? Was there a process broken chain link in the fence? And what we identified was the client didn't respond to the first few times we did it. So we just stopped doing it. Hey, is that right? They're paying for us to do that piece. And we just whether they look at it or not, we should still be making sure that it's getting done. But we took it one step further than that. Why did the client not respond? Why did the client not understand? Customer service. They didn't understand what we were giving. They didn't understand how to read the reports. They were confused and they felt weird asking because they thought that we would be like, "Hey, you're stupid. You're an owner of a multi-million dollar company and you can't read a P&L." And so it's about having that compassion and understanding. But by doing that review, that client had a different light on what we were doing because we owned that we didn't do what we said we were going to do. And we actually pivoted to a new contract that actually added services because now they trusted us. And we added so much services that we almost doubled the cost of their contract. So if you think about it, those are some really, really important ways to utilize your workflow to understand what your client is needing or doesn't need. So Jill, you put in, my team is not marking tasks completed as they go. They say they know what they need to do, and you can't tell what stage they're in, struggling to figure out the fix. With this, your question is if my project templates are too detailed or any experience on this. I think that the thing that's most important is having the buy-in from your team, and understanding the why behind a workflow. What is the why that you created for if it's too detailed or not detailed enough? What is the why? Did your team help you create the workflow? I love creating workflows, but my workflows are either way too intense, not enough detail for the team to understand what they're supposed to do in their own words. So now we sit down and we create workflows together and we audit those workflows together and we recheck those workflows on a regular basis. Well, then the next step is kind of like if they're not checking it, I'm thinking without knowing much about you, Jill, and your workflow, that maybe they are too detailed. Maybe it's something simple like download statement, and that's something they need to check, versus handle all statements and then you break it down into individual, like in one checkbox where it's multiple things they're doing that might be simultaneous. So I think that's a great way to look at it. Number one that I always say is having that instant buy-in from your team by explaining why. Why do I need to check the box? Because I want to make sure, team member, that you're not overwhelmed. I want to make sure that if I need to jump in or another team member needs to jump in to help to satisfy and accomplish what we're doing for that client, is key and important. Yes, and Shannon, I mean, I know your workflows, and you have some beautiful workflows on what you're doing and how you function, and you love using the tags so that you can understand and sort and organize. But again, keeping it simple. So, like I said here, simplify and standardize as much as possible. Using the same words for the same areas each time will help, and again, doing that with your team was a huge exercise for us. I actually was like, hey, I'm going to stay out of it and I'm going to let my team do the workflow. And then I'm going to come in and we're going to meet as a team. And then I'm going to give my thoughts on each thing. Hey, you know what? I don't understand why you said this, team member. And then they're able to explain to me. And then I'm like, oh, that totally makes sense. By allowing my team to put it in their words instead of my accountant words, they actually are checking the boxes. They're going through what they need to be going through. They're making sure that we're getting the things that done that we need to get done in a timely fashion. So I think those things are huge and very important for what you're trying to accomplish too. Okay, implementation and scaling. Let's think. What is this? This is looking at our workflow, looking at how we're doing our billing, looking how we're doing our automation, looking how we're doing our proposals, and then turning these fixes into reusable work templates by reducing setup time by at least 50%. Again, Financial Sense is so customizable, which I absolutely love that they are because we are different people. We function differently. Our brains function differently, even in my own team. That by creating templates together as a team, it's going to take us a little bit of time in the beginning, but then it should be reducing our time in the future. Automating some of those onboarding or workflows ensures that our clients follow the same path. So, what is an onboarding workflow? Well, you get a new client, or you change a contract, and so now you're offering payroll services when you didn't offer payroll services before. That's an onboarding. What does that mean to the client? That's a workflow that should be created to make sure, did we check all the boxes? Do they know that I do taxes for them? Does QuickBooks or the payroll company do it? Are they fully aware of what that scope or that change is? And then my most favorite is I love rehashing. I love checking back in. I love asking clients and my team, what can we do better? How can we do this more efficient? Hold recurring process reviews. So those are 20-minute stand-ups to refine the work. Hey, let's look at client A and how does that workflow work? Now, can we take this workflow and the customization we made for this one particular client and create something on the template that helps us remember what we've customized? Because maybe this client that we're working with, maybe in a construction or restaurant or whatever, had some special needs. They have a special software they use that maybe we should put that in the template just in case. And we can, justify it with this other new client doesn't need it, but hey, we just have to exit off in the beginning. So taking those recurring process reviews and listening as an owner, or if you're the person that's in charge of the operations, operations manager, listening to what the team is saying their problems are. Yeah, I get stuck here and I don't know what to do. Is it the workflow, or is it they don't know the process or they don't know the why behind saving down the reconciliation out of QuickBooks and putting that into your system to store? We store it right in Financial Sense. Here's the statement, here's the reconciliation, both together. So now we can say, we have the statement, and here's our proof that we did it. And here's the date on the top that tells us when I did it. So that the client ever asks, I can just, hey, just go right into Financial Sense and you can see the date and time when we finished it. So if we're behind, they get to see we're behind. If we're ahead of the game, we're ahead of the game, and they get to like that as well. So here's some key takeaways that I want you to go with. Automate proposals to eliminate the midnight sends. Keep billing aligned on time every time. And turn chaos into clarity with dashboards, task dependency. Those things are important because, again, what is workflow? Workflow is organization, workflow, streamlined ability, better understanding of what you're doing. If you use the time and attendance feature, how do you do it? I know Shannon here, she goes right down into the task item for clocking in and out, because she's working on capacity planning. She's working on the average time it takes to do that particular task. Whereas my firm, we're at client level. Yeah, I just want you to clock in at the client level, but I'm missing some of that capacity detail. Like, how long does it take to reconcile this company versus that company? This company has 25 bank accounts. This one has two. I should see a difference in time, but I don't. I don't get to see that clarity because I'm not doing the super detail. Again, the nice part about financial sense being customized is that we can all do those things. Shannon and I talked, and sorry, I keep calling or saying Shannon's name, but I talk to her all the time. But I know that she was like, "Hey, we're going to set this standard. We're going to do this extra work of deep dive clocking in and out, so that we can get this understanding, and then eventually we'll pull back, and we won't need to go that much detail, because then we'll have an understanding of what is the expectation, how much time should it take, and then we'll be able to know what we're doing." So again, very, very key and very important. So, what will you fix first? I know me. Every time I listen to somebody else do a conversation like this, the first thing I want to do is fix it all. Everything in my host system, I want to just delete it and start over. Believe it or not, last year we did that. 3 years in financial sense or 4 years in financial sense, and we're going to start over. Deleted everything, start over. Was that a good idea for us? It was. Was Would I do it again? Absolutely not. That is way too much to take on, way too much confusion for the team. You need to take your work frustrations and understand what is most important, and then create a process. So here it is again: create your very own work function frustrations checklist, and create it as a project in QuickBooks in financial sense. And then you're going to be able to see, what are they? Make it available to your team. So it's a full team one. So now your team can put it in anytime they want. They're working at 10 p.m. They can put in, "This is my frustration." It may be related to financial sense. It may be related to QuickBooks. It may be related to some other third party software you're using. Who cares what it's related to? It's just a place of frustrations in work. This is what I'm struggling with. Then, as a team, or you as the owner that can help create this action item, create a specific function or action item to improve it. And only pick one frustration to tackle at a time. Now, you might be able to group some of them in from your team and say, "Hey, this is 5 different ways of saying the same thing." But also very important to say, now we can work on this next step. Now we can fix what we need to fix, and we can prioritize it. So think about like a voting system. What if you put that in and say, "Hey, you know what? I want you to put in a number, in the thing that I want this to be number one. Here's my number one issue." And if everybody agrees that number one, then you move it up to the number one list. Or the way I'm doing it is I export that project in Excel. So I have it, and then I have the team rate. What would they like us to work on first? Because I can't make that decision. I might want something that they don't care about, or vice versa. So I think again, it's very important to have that communication with your team. Now, if you're a solopreneur, that can get hard to do because you're the one with all the frustrations, and now you have to be the one that fixes it. That doesn't sound very fun. That's where you have the Financial Sense group. So remember, Financial Sense Facebook group, and I'm going to show you another community that you can be a part of that's sponsored by Financial Sense today. Um, ask ask the question. Somebody's already created this process. Go onto the templates area, and find a template that might match something of where you're at. Reach out to people. We don't need you to recreate the wheel. This isn't the first. You aren't the first one to have this problem, and you probably aren't the first one to have a solution that maybe I didn't have. So here on the screen right now is another QR code, because I love QR codes. But this one is your connection to the community. So this is to register and attend for free at no cost to you, Next Level Firm Roundtable. So this is a roundtable that we do once a month. It's on Zoom. You can come and go as you please. And it's powered by Financial Sense. It's all about workflow. We want to talk about workflow. It may not always be Financial Sense workflow, but that's our goal. is to really help you get where you need to be and understand uh, where do I go to ask this question? Where do I go if I'm struggling? Like some of the comments have been today about like, hey, I don't know how to get my staff to click the button and say they did it. Hey, come together. There's about 35 of us that show up right now each month. Some of them are brand new, some of them are regulars. It's hosted by me, Richard Roper Roberts, and our very own Davita. Tries to come as many times as she can. And we love it. We love that we have Financial Sense involved and there to listen. They get all of our feedback in a way that is not calling anybody out. We like to hear what the frustrations are. And I'm able to communicate that to Financial Sense and say, hey, we need this fixed or we need this to happen. So some of the features that you've seen coming out today, like the month end workflow and closeout, or as I call it, the books review out of QuickBooks, like those things came from our community and us saying, hey, we need this. Are you listening to us? And I think it's really important. So please take a picture, go to this link, sign up. Again, it's free. We do not record, so you have to be there to hear it. And then we do a lot of posting in the Facebook group as well. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen at the moment, and Davida is going to run a poll for us right now. Oh, my QR code and link is not working for me. That is not a good thing. But Davida is going to put uh, in the chat the link for it as well. Well, bummer. I was hoping my beautiful thing would work. Um, I guess I can put it in there too. Okay, great. So yeah, Davida just put that in. No, Davida, I don't know how to do the poll. Or did you already do it? Oh, there we go. So the poll is in the section where it says polls. You can go in there and it says, do you want to see a personalized demo of Financial Sense? Yes or no? I'm going to say, even though I use Financial Sense and have used Financial Sense for quite a while, I still love to do demos and I love to do them with people, but I also like to do them with Financial Sense. What am I missing? What's something that I could learn from a demo that I might not be doing? It also gives you that opportunity to again ask those important questions that you might have with others. So again, I apologize my QR code didn't work. I tested it and I was really excited about it. But thank you, Davida, for putting in the direct link in. And again, super excited for all of us. So now I'm going to kind of dive into some of these questions that are in the Q&A. So obviously, Shannon, we did just answer your question on Next Level Firm. We do run that monthly. And like I said, I'm super excited for everybody that can join. Another question in here is from proposals to billing. Any tips on how to set a recurring bill to always be the first of the month if the proposal was not accepted on the first of the month? I actually don't have that answer on how to do that, but it is one that I'm going to make sure that we get posted in the Facebook group. So take a look there for an answer to make sure that I'm not just answering it improperly. How do you make those incremental small changes in Financial Sense? And how do you get that buy-in from the team? Uh, Again, that one to me was super. I love that one because again, it's team involvement. It's having the excitement about your team, but ultimately, again, giving that why. Why am I doing this? Why do I have to do this? What is the importance to the company? Or more importantly, what is the importance to the customer, to our client, by us doing the Financial Sense workflows, checking things off, having your team involved, having, listening to what they have to say and what they might want, I think is also important. Do you or anyone else have experience with the text capable business phone service so that clients can text, but not to a personal number. I don't. I don't have experience with a text capable business phone service. However, what I love is Slack. And we use Slack like it's text messaging because it's on the client's phone, it's on our system, and we can still hold the boundaries together by either, not, showing the client that we're not online, then they know they're going to get back to us. To get employees okay with change. Tips, Emily, this is a great one. Tips to get employees okay with change. That starts from the top. That starts in your culture. That starts by explaining what is change, and that change is the only thing that's constant. And what's the importance of change? If we didn't change, where would we be today? We wouldn't be on this live event online. We wouldn't probably have Zoom calls with our clients. We probably wouldn't have as many clients as we have because we'd have an office building that we have to drive to, that they have to come to for us to do the work, or that we have to go to their office. Those things are how change happened. So to get an employee to understand that is kind of explaining, hey, you get to work from home. That's change. How do we explain the rest? Is again, it goes back to that why question. Why do we have to do something we're doing? Not how do we do it, but why is it important? And having them have that light bulb turn on. And the way I do the why is in a ask versus tell scenario. If I tell you what to do, then I'm always going to have to tell you what to do. But if I ask you the question, and then ask you the next question, and then ask you the next question, which could be why do we have to do this? Well, what's next? What else do you have to do? Eventually, that light bulb's going to turn on, and then they're going to be like, I totally get it now. And I will get that slide deck over to Davida here in just a moment so that she can get that posted. Just give me 1 second to do that. And then I'm going to continue getting to the questions here. Working on it, working on it. Okay, let's keep going here. So Anna, the Zoom should always be on a Wednesday, so I'm not sure why it is showing a Tuesday. There might be a holiday or something in there that got it to move. I will send that off to Roundtable Labs so that they can confirm, but it should go on the calendar properly once he fixes it. Oh, I love Jason. Jason, for someone who is just starting out with Financial Sense, what is your favorite feature? Believe it or not, it's hard to give you a favorite because there's so much in it that is amazing. But I have to say, for someone, if I was just starting Financial Sense again, the template library is my favorite option because now I don't have to recreate the world. I don't have to start from scratch. I can see what are other people doing? How are they coming up with how they do a month end close? And so, pitching myself here, inside of the template is a month end close process that I call month end plus. And I love it because it's one project that breaks down multiple sections. I like that for how I work, but that doesn't mean that some of our other, my other friends and colleagues out there, they like to have separate projects that this one opens up based on that one being finished. So I think it's super important to do that. Okay, in the beginning, you mentioned automating proposals so that they're not sending at 11. I can only find automation reminders, not the initial send. Gosh, I feel like I'm just not answering all the good questions. That is a really, really great question. And all I know is that it was in the reminder section. I don't actually do the proposal sends out, so I don't have that answer. But again, we'll get that answer for you in the Financial Sense Facebook group. Okay, please remind everyone where to find the template library. So when you sign into Financial Sense, then and you go into templates on the top left, then you should be able to see it will be on the top line that will say template library. If you click on that, then it will bring you into the template library and you can search on the top, like, what are you thinking? Hey, I want an employee onboarding. I want a client onboarding. I want, whatever you're wanting, you can search and put those things in and then know what you're going to be doing. Uh, so it looks like, okay, so is there a way to group projects by tag where you can see all the different tags at once, but organized by tag? There is that, there's the ability to organize and customize, but I don't remember if you can customize by tag. Um, uh, but I do know that you can group your projects. You can say, hey, all of these that are going to be named this, for these type of clients, and that's all in, on that top line. You should be able to see that on the right hand side. What would the client threshold? So, what would the client threshold? How many clients be for looking at getting access to Financial Sense? Are you talking about access to, giving your clients access or yourself? I think that as a firm that has employees, I wish I would have right off the bat when I was all by myself had Financial Sense already up and running and established and had my clients connected and using the portal. Because now I feel like we're doing a lot of struggle where some of our legacy clients are in the old system and some of our new clients are in the Financial Sense system. And I think it can get confusing. So I would say if you have one client, get in Financial Sense. If you have one client, have them start using the portal, the reminders, because it's going to make your life easier. So is there a way to send reminders for client tasks before the project start date? To me, I do not believe that is possible. I think that once the project starts, then it can send off reminders in the client portal. What you can do though is create specifics. So outside of that project, maybe create it as a customer request through inside of the actual customer overall client. And you can put those in as customer requests and send that in, and that will go onto the portal where then they can see what they're doing. So hopefully I've answered everybody's questions, and thank you, Carolina, for putting in the direct link to the template library. I really appreciate that. Does anybody have any other questions? Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to click on that template library because I really love the option of just taking an extra couple minutes and showing off the template library to you. So just give me a second to share my screen again. Perfect. So hopefully you should be able to see the popular workflow templates. So all I did was just click on the link and go into the templates. What I search for in here is I always kind of do the month. I want to see what is monthly because most of my clients on a month basis or month template. And you can see here there's so many different month related things, monthly bookkeeping. You got Peter here with the Monday checklist. Here's my month end close plus that I like. And it just kind of gives you whatever option you're wanting to look at. So you can say, onboarding. Again, client onboarding, monthly accounting onboarding, new bookkeeping client onboarding. Taylor is great over at accounting therapy with a lot of her, what she does. I can tell you that Jenny here, she's on the top of the list. So if you don't search, you can see Jenny. So she is the top downloadable person that submits to some of her stuff. So for sure, look at her, see what they are, and what can you do or why would you want to use it. I'm going to go to the month end because I really like what I put together with Financial Sense on what is a month end close and how is this month end close template going to eventually work really well in the new features that they're coming out with month-end close and reviews inside of Financial Sense. So you can see at the very top here, we have client tasks. Client tasks are, hey, it's just asking a question, yes, no's. Were there any fixed assets purchased like this month? Not all year. It's not going backwards a year. Did I not see it? Did you buy it with your own money and didn't tell me, but you eventually were going to put it into the company? Please upload to syncs. So we used to use sync. So this needs to be updated. Your bank or credit card or liability statements. That's if we don't have access. Because some of us might have access and not knowing what they need. Then I have team tasks. So the team task, as you can see, is a long item. This is everything that we could possibly see at any type of client. And I wanted to know, what are we doing? But at the very end here, you can see in team tasks, I say reconcile all accounts. So instead of each one of these individually having the reconciliation inside of them, where now it's all mixed and matched and all over the place, I wanted to have it broken down. One place for me as a quality person or my quality specialist can go in and say, we're all bank accounts done. It's not just bank accounts, it's each bank account has their own line item, their own checkbox with their own last four digits of the account number so that we can cross reference. Did they add a bank that they didn't tell us about? Sometimes that happens. Now we're quite aware. Every single balance sheet account is going to be in there. Whether it's fixed asset account and I only do that once a year, I want the team reviewing everything every single month, looking at everything every single month. Because again, that's super important. So again, you can see reviewer tasks, quality assurance control tasks, month-end client meeting. So what is that meeting like? Again, so many amazing things in Financial Sense, so much customizability. And so thank you so much for all of your time. I know we are at time now. It has been a pleasure to be here with you today. And I'm sorry for some of my little glitches, but I appreciate your time and enjoy the rest of WorkflowCon. It's going to be amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Reach out anytime and hope